by this ad.
I am, but I'm extremely proud and happy. Skip, I think what Nike, one of the biggest global brands in all the world, has done is says, Colin Kaepernick, you're not alone. You're not as tainted as people would lead you to believe. For them, for Nike, to bring Colin Kaepernick on board, Skip, for this slogan, the 30th anniversary, lets me know they've done their homework. Now, they've researched this in and out, got all the numbers, all the analytics. They believe that this is not going to hurt their business. We see Papa John's, they're fighting with the guy that started Papa John's because they believe he's bad for business. So what we've seen is that if a business thinks a person is bad for business, they try to sever ties. Sever ties. They don't link up. For Nike to say, Colin, we want you. Now, he was always an endorsee. He wore the Nike shoes, so he was an endorsee. But not to this. Not to this extent, Skip. I'm shocked. This is the Moby Dick. Because you've always asked, well, Shannon, what do you think if one of these white quarterbacks, a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, well, they got the Moby Dick of brands to sign up and say, Colin Kaepernick, we believe in your message. We believe in what you're trying to do. And we want to get on board. We want you on our board. Skip, this is huge. I get, and people are like, well, if you look back at Nike's history, they've always kind of done things like this. You remember when Michael Jordan, Skip, Michael Jordan wearing a red and black shoe, when at the time the NBA said the shoe had to be solid white, is one thing. Nothing Michael Jordan did was ever as divisive as this issue, what Colin Kaepernick is doing. You on one side or the other. And it's kind of like coming down racial lines. There are some, some whites that says, okay, I see what Colin Kaepernick is doing. I understand. There are some blacks saying, I don't get it. Do that some other time.
True.
But for the most part, it's down racial lines. And for Nike to say, you know what? We want to be a part of this. We want to be on the right side of history. Sometimes, Skip, when you feel you've been buried, you've actually been planted. Because, and I said this before, and Nike, I believe Nike agrees with me. When this first happened, I said, I believe 30, 40 years from now, history will look very fondly on one Colin Kaepernick. People did not look at Muhammad Ali at the time he was doing what he did. A lot of people didn't look at him like they do 30, 40 years later. The same thing with Dr. King. The same thing with Rosa Parks. But now we look at these, they're sacred, they're mythical, although they're real, but I'm saying they're held in such high reverence in our community. And so...
By the way, isn't history already looking favorably on Colin? Because it feels like even the opinion polls are creeping up, creeping up.
It's definitely, the tide is definitely shifting in his favor.
But
what
I don't think he's going to have to be long gone for us to say, look what he did. I think we're already saying that.
Yes, but there will still be detractors, Skip. And I think he understands that. But to have such a big brand behind you, backing you, and what you believe in and what you're doing, that Colin now can go out there and I know my rights, and to have this kind of brand behind him, Skip, this is unbelievable. And we know Nike, they're very genius when it comes to marketing.
Ingenious,
Because we saw, Skip, what they did with the Livestrong. Even though Lance Armstrong went away, they still sell those yellow T-shirts, those yellow rubber bands.
They do.
And so Mark Garagos tweeted something that I thought was very interesting. If I'm not mistaken, call it the lawyer, Mark Garagos. He said, Colin Kaepernick is not going away. But he retweeted it and captioned it with an article about the NFL collusion. I believe this is what he's talking about when he said Colin Kaepernick is not going away. Because here we are 30 years later, and we still remember, just do it, Skip. And you remember, Bo knows. That's another slogan. Another slogans that catchy. Everybody wants to be like Mike. That's so now Colin Kaepernick is going to be a part of the 30th anniversary.
The ultimate was just do it. And he just did it.
Yeah. And Skip, who doesn't know what the swoosh is? Now, Colin Kaepernick is also under that umbrella, which he was before, but in a different way. They're going to sell merchandise like they do the Live Strong. Colin Kaepernick T-shirts and possibly shoes. Skip, this is unbelievable. I'm a little surprised because this is still so polarizing, but then I guess I shouldn't be shocked because what does Nike do? Nike has always been polarizing. And they get the athletes that are polarizing.
That is correct.
And you see, it also tells me that Nike said, you know what? We want our athletes to have voices because one of the most powerful athletes in the world is under this brand. And he has no problem whatsoever speaking on any issue. So this is like, you know what? If he can do it, let's bring someone that's been ostracized, bring him under to let him know he's not alone, and we're in this fight with him. Kudos to you, Nike. Gonna buy me some more Nikes today.
Good for you. All of which is why I'm not surprised. In fact, if there's any surprise to me is, Nike, what took you so long, right? Because from what I read, it took Adidas and Puma coming to the table trying to lure Cap away from Nike because he was always a Nike guy. And as his deal came nearing its end, they came to the table, and it sounds like Nike said, maybe we better revisit this and look hard at this. And what they decided, to me, was absolutely brilliant. Because to your point, what has history told us about sneaker selling? The sneakers are best sold by athletes who are a little rebellious or against the grain or have some edge, right? Traditionally, that's been what's happened. It's why so many white kids started buying and listening to rap music, right? Because their parents said, don't do that, or I don't get that, right? And so, oh, well, this is cool because my parents don't like it, right?
Plus, the really bad music was in the glass case.
Okay,
so,
all right.
They don't want me to have that.
Okay, there you go. No, that is exactly right. So here comes Colin Kaepernick, who fairly quickly, to the credit of our country, became the courageous face of a crucial movement against police brutality that sparked just as Donald Trump was being elected to the White House.
Correct.
This is all right place, right time, right on time. So you don't think Colin Kaepernick's going to work for Nike? I mean, to me,
absolutely.
Way to go. I mean, to me, I don't know how you can miss with this one, because in the biggest picture of this, you say the slogan is, believe in something even if it means sacrificing. Well, obviously, some of his martyrdom might get a little undercut because this is a big deal that they just gave him according to all the reports. This is a typical NFL superstar mega deal worth millions. I haven't seen an exact figure yet, but this is a big apparel line featuring Colin Kaepernick, right? This is his new brand. Good for him, because he deserves it. To me, he earned it. I'm fine with it. It somewhat undercuts the slogan, because even if it means sacrificing everything. So he's going to get paid now, but he should have been getting paid all along. He just left millions of NFL dollars on the table. And I want to point out that money can't ultimately buy ultimate happiness, correct?
Correct.
Because what did Colin Kaepernick sacrifice? He sacrificed years of being able to play quarterback in the National Football League, right? Would he, if he hadn't knelt, would he still be in the league?
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure he might be a starting quarterback in the league, because he's good enough to be a starting quarterback.
You know what, Skip, and a lot of people, you follow on social media and you read what people say, well, he didn't join the military. You can sacrifice something without giving up your life. A wife choosing to stay home to raise the kid while the husband goes out, even though she wants a job, Skip, that's a sacrifice. Colin Kaepernick taking the stance that he took, sacrificing his career in the NFL. Now, he might make money now later, but that was a sacrifice, Skip. Dr. King, all his images on T-shirts, Malcolm X, don't they make money for that? Did they get into it to make money?
I don't know if that was happening at that time.
No. I'm saying, I don't think Colin Kaepernick thought he can make money from this. I do not believe Colin. He believed in his heart that he was doing the right thing.
I agree. This is blown up all around him. I'm sure he's still a little bit in shock over everything that happened.
Correct.
Because he's been called now. He's become, whether he likes it or not, he's become this face of the movement. He's become a huge activist in this country, and I'm very fascinated now to see how he carries this on, because we still haven't heard much from him.
No.
Right?
And I don't, well, eventually, he's going to go out on the circuit, because that's going to be a part of this. It's kind of like, when you give you an example, and I hate to use this, but Dr. King, he had the Weekly. he did something, whether it was in the pulpit, whether he was in Birmingham, whether he was in Chicago, whether he was it didn't matter, Skip. So Colin Kaepernick, in order for his message to continue and get out there, he's going to have to take his show on the road now.
Okay.
And now he has the financial backing of a giant institution to do that.
Okay.